I gave my husband everything, then he destroyed my family for his side piece. When Ethan Barrett was at the height of his legal career, I was the one who fell to my knees, begging him to let me stand by his side. I was Sophia Whitmore, heir to the Whitmore empire. I had everything: wealth, power, status. But I wanted him more than any of it. I promised to respect his career, to stand behind him forever, waiting for the day he'd give me a proper title. I swore I'd make him the most successful man in the world. That I'd love only him forever. For 5 years, I kept every promise. I cherished him like a treasure in my arms. I was the perfect wife, handling his affairs, accompanying him to every event, being his rock when he investigated dangerous cases, his cheerleader when he fought for justice. I thought we'd be together forever. Until River Sullivan entered our lives and became the lawyer defending the man who assaulted Ethan's sister. And I chose River over my husband. Chapter 1. The year Ethan made his name in the legal world was the year we secretly married. 5 years later. I pushed my phone across the table to him, my lips curved in a smile. On the screen, his younger sister Lily's pale body writhed beneath a man, her face flushed as he forced expensive wine between her lips. No, please. Her words cut off as he violated her with the wine bottle. She gasped, trying to escape, but it only made her look willing. The man pulled out the bottle, shaking it with a vile grin. Look how talented you are, baby. The wine increased. I sat across from Ethan, watching his face drain of color, and kept smiling calmly. My fingers tapped the table lightly. Ethan, anyone can see this isn't assault. It's consensual fun, isn't it? You have 3 minutes to decide. Hand over the evidence or let your sister become internet famous. Only one lawyer can be on top, and River can't have a loss on his record. So Ethan, leave the legal world. I'll take care of you from now on. Sophia. His voice shook. That's my sister, my most important person. That bastard drugged her. I slid a card across the table dismissively. Important? It was just consensual fun between adults. How is that more important than River? He's sensitive, losing a case would make him cry. Ethan stared at me like I was a stranger. My sister was assaulted, my family is falling apart, and you call it nothing? A predator commits heinous acts and walks free, and you call it nothing? But River losing a case and crying is the end of the world? Is he even a man? My face darkened with displeasure. I leaned forward impatiently. Listen clearly, River saved my life once. No one matters more to me than him. There's 500,000 on that card. Give it to your sister. Let her buy bags, cars, whatever makes her happy. Young people experiment in relationships. It's normal. Ethan shook with rage. He couldn't understand how I'd become this person. When we met, I'd humbled myself, the Whitmore heiress on her knees, begging to be his shadow. I'd promised to respect his career, to wait forever for him to acknowledge me publicly. I'd sworn to make him the world's most successful man. To love only him forever. For 5 years, I hadn't broken a single promise. I'd treasured him, handled his life, supported him through danger. When he investigated corruption, risking his life, I was his driver, his backup. When he fought for justice, facing public scrutiny, I praised his kindness, gave him strength. He thought we'd be together forever. But now River had taken the case defending Lily's attacker, becoming Ethan's opponent. And I was choosing River, willing to destroy everything. Sophia. His voice trembled. If I don't give in, you'll really destroy us? Try me. Chapter 2. I first heard River Sullivan's name a year ago in court. As opposing counsel, he'd faced Ethan in a heated trial. River was ridiculously idealistic, more focused on moral arguments than legal knowledge. He defended a 70-year-old man who'd molested a neighbor's daughter. After the trial, River had confronted Ethan emotionally. Don't you have any sympathy? He's old and lonely, that's why he made that choice. Do you want him to die alone in prison? When I heard about it, I'd held Ethan close, my eyes dark. Such an ungrateful creature. Baby, should I deal with him? Ethan had refused. 6 months later, I hired River as Whitmore Corp's legal counsel. I'd cooed to Ethan, honey, we just needed someone. Besides, don't you think his personality is interesting? River's name began appearing more frequently in our conversations. Trusting in my love, Ethan never saw River as a threat. But now, the woman who'd once sworn to swallow 1,000 needles if she betrayed him was destroying his family just to make River smile. Fine. I agree. Ethan's heart died as he signed the papers I pushed toward him. After the last stroke, he left without looking back. His phone rang immediately, his mother's panicked voice. Ethan, come to the hospital. Lily tried to kill herself. He rushed to find his mother kneeling before doctors, holding Lily's bleeding body. Please, save my daughter. She's still warm, I've tried to stop the bleeding. She can be saved. His mother's forehead was red from kowtowing. The doctors looked uncomfortable. Mrs. Whitmore ordered all emergency doctors to stand by. We need to go treat Mr. Sullivan's dog. Ethan nearly collapsed. He grabbed a departing doctor desperately. Doctor, dogs have vets. You save human lives. Will you really let my sister die here? The doctor shook him off. Please understand. Mrs. Whitmore said it's Mr. Sullivan's beloved pet. If it dies, he won't eat or sleep. If anything happens to him, we'll all suffer. Ethan chased after them, shouting until his voice went hoarse. When he returned, his mother cradled Lily's cold body, sobbing. Ethan fell to his knees beside them, drowning in grief. He Slapped himself repeatedly. It's my fault. I killed my sister. His mother stopped him, Lily's blood still on her hands. Her tear-swollen eyes hardened with determination. Good boy, we're taking your sister and leaving. I'll arrange everything. In 7 days, we'll emigrate. We'll never come back. Chapter 3. Ethan accompanied his mother to the crematorium with Lily's body. In one afternoon, his mother aged 10 years. Watching her clutch the urn with bent shoulders made Ethan's heart twist. Then I texted him. 2 hours. Get River's suit from the stylist and bring it to the gala. River will send the address. Ethan laughed bitterly, nearly dropping his phone. He typed back, busy. I immediately sent Lily's video again. The threat was clear. Ethan's knuckles went white. His mother saw the message and lost control. My daughter is dead. What more? Does she want? Should I ask if she needs to scatter my daughter's ashes personally to be satisfied? Ethan held his emotional mother, crying. Mom, don't. I'll go. For 7 days, I can't let Sophia suspect anything, or we'll never escape. River's address was vague. I arrived sweating, barely on time. I'd said someone would wait at the door. Ethan saw a man's figure from afar. As he got closer, his blood turned to ice. He couldn't stay rational, his eyes reddening with fury. It was Lily's attacker. The man saw Ethan and swaggered over with a smug grin. Mr. Barrett. River asked me to meet you. You're so slow. I waited forever. Ethan's nails dug into his palms, swallowing his rage and bitterness. River invited you? The man preened. Of course. River's such a good guy. I said I'd never been to events like this, so he's showing me around since I'm his client. His girlfriend's great too. The CEO gave me this custom suit. You should learn from River. Look what kind of woman he found. Oh right, you and your slutty sister share genes. Neither of you are any good. Every word pulled at Ethan's fraying nerves. He lost control, throwing the suit in the man's face. How dare you mention my sister? I'll kill you. Ethan barely landed a few hits before being pulled away. River walked out with me on his arm, frowning at the scene. Mr. Barrett, who said you could hit my client? You must apologize. Apologize? Ethan laughed hoarsely. He destroyed my sister. Why should I apologize? River's eyes sharpened. You can't make such accusations. The court hasn't ruled. You're slandering my client. He turned to me with false humility. How should we handle this? If I decide, it won't be fair. Chapter 4. I loved River's stubborn pride. My cold eyes filled with tenderness. I smiled helplessly. You. Then, without looking at Ethan, I commanded, kneel. Apologize. Ethan's eyes widened in disbelief. Sophia, are you insane? Don't you know he's the one who? Before he could finish, I made a gesture. Guards forced Ethan to his knees, smashing his head against the ground repeatedly. Thud. 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 Each impact echoed sickeningly. Blood streamed down Ethan's face, his vision blurring. Only when I saw River's expression soften did I signal them to stop. Ethan collapsed, breaking free of his captors. Tears mixed with blood dripped into the dirt. I walked over and crouched beside him, offering a white handkerchief with gentle words but emotionless eyes. Ethan, didn't I tell you to drop this case? Your persistency, you want to destroy River? You're too cruel. Ethan struggled upright, knocking the handkerchief away. Think whatever you want. He stood with difficulty. I watched the fallen handkerchief, my eyes darkening momentarily. Returning to River's side, I embraced him. Back to Riverside Manor. River glanced thoughtfully at Ethan's broken figure and raised his voice deliberately. Not taking me home? I pressed against him, leaving a lingering kiss. Not today. My place. Ethan tried not to hear, but their words pierced like needles in his heart. The pain made breathing difficult. Listening to the fading engine, the pressure and humiliation finally bent his spine. I hadn't left him a car. By the time Ethan reached the manor, it was midnight. As he reached for the lock, sounds from inside made him freeze. The noises cut into him like icy slaps. His face went pale. He gripped the door handle but couldn't find the courage to enter. Ethan stood frozen for an hour. The autumn wind was cold, but not as cold as his heart. Only when the sounds quieted did he mechanically unlock the door. On the carpet I'd carefully chosen lay torn clothes. On the console table Ethan had searched furniture stores for an open box of condoms. I was desperately trying to mark every corner of our former love with evidence of my affair with River. Ethan kept his head down, afraid of seeing worse, and rushed toward the stairs. River blocked him, wearing only a bathrobe, face flushed but maintaining his superior attitude. Mr. Barrett, don't act like a victim. I'm not a homewrecker. Chapter 5. Ethan clenched his jaw, forcing his voice steady. If you say you're not, then you're not. I don't have time for your mental gymnastics. River, angered, grabbed Ethan's hand and dragged him to my study. He expertly opened my safe, the one always locked to Ethan, and threw papers at him. Mr. Barrett, look carefully. You're already divorced. Black and white, that's your signature, right? You might have signed unknowingly. But we're both lawyers. You know it's valid. Your marriage is over. Sophia divorced you because I can't accept love triangles. I'm just clarifying so you stop clinging to her. Actually, you have no right to be in this manner. But I'll give you time to move out. Ethan read the divorce papers thoroughly. River wasn't lying. I was always meticulous about legal documents. He'd worried about divorcing me, apparently unnecessarily. Besides relief, bitterness filled him. 5 years of marriage, weathering every storm together. Ending in this humiliating, silent finale. How could he not grieve? Ethan pocketed the papers expressionlessly. Fine. I wish you both 100 years of happiness. He bit out the last 4 words. Back in his room, Ethan didn't sleep. He packed everything quickly. Learning that neither River nor I would be home the next day, he called movers. The mover stared at the expensive suits and cufflinks. Sir. Are you sure the delivery address is correct? The city dump? Ethan handed over the last box emotionlessly. Yes, that's correct. He pressed extra money into the mover's hand. Please throw everything in the incinerator. I don't want any of it. These were all gifts from me. Since the giver's sincerity was worthless, so were the gifts. Just as he finished, his mother called. Through the static came her broken sobs. Ethan, they're trying to take your sister's burial plot. My poor daughter can't even rest in peace. It's all my fault. I'm useless. Ethan comforted his mother and rushed over. He found security guards roughly shoving his mother away. She fell, protecting the urn in her arms. Too hurt to stand, she looked lost and helpless. Ethan rushed to help her up, eyes red with anger. Who did this? His mother pointed at a painfully familiar figure. Him. His pet dog died. He forcibly took the plot I reserved for your sister. Chapter 6. Ethan looked up to see River crying over a dog's corpse. Rage erupted in him. He pulled his mother forward, voice ice cold. Not satisfied with stealing men, now you're stealing graves. River stiffened at Ethan's words, his expression twisting momentarily. He bit his lip, playing victim. Mr. Barrett, I just want to bury my dog. How have I offended you? Besides, River glanced at their urn, are you playing games to make Sophia pity you? You're no better. What, claiming your sister died? She looked pretty happy in that video. This trick's too cheap. Listening to River's increasingly vile words, Ethan fought the urge to hit him. He took a deep breath and called the cemetery manager. After explaining, thankfully the manager was reasonable and ordered River to leave. Sir, our cemetery has a reservation system. We can't break rules for you. If you need a plot urgently, I can have staff show you other areas. River's face flushed with anger. He glared at Ethan. Ethan Barrett, you're this heartless. My dog died and you won't even let me bury him? Ethan carefully placed his sister's urn in the plot, not even glancing at River. Heartless describes you better. River swayed dramatically, then fainted. Before Ethan could react, an oppressively cold voice came from behind. Remove that filth from the grave. Ethan turned to see me looking anxious, rushing to cradle River carefully. His hands clenched involuntarily. He quickly blocked the guards reaching for his sister's urn, eyes red as he faced me. Sophia, do you know who's in here? I stood above him, looking down coldly. Who it is has nothing to do with me. Ethan, you keep provoking River. Everything happening now, you brought on yourself. I nodded to the guards. They immediately yanked the urn from the grave. In front of Ethan and his mother, they scattered the ashes on the ground, mixed with dirt. His mother broke down, sobbing, trying to gather the ashes. Guards blocked her. One even ground his foot into the ashes maliciously. Ethan nearly collapsed from the blow, staring at me in disbelief. He forced down the metallic taste in his throat, speaking each word carefully. Sophia, do you know whose ashes these are? This is your sister's. I cut him off with a cold laugh, my beautiful face mocking. I knew you'd use this excuse. Ethan, this is boring. Keep lying and I'll make it real. I left carrying River. Chapter 7. After everyone left, Ethan fell to his knees in despair. His trembling hands tried to gather his sister's ashes. But his fingers touched only bone-chilling cold. His mother's hoarse sobs beside him pierced his heart like a blade. For the first time, he truly hated himself. Watching his mother near breakdown, Ethan forced himself together, holding her. Mom, it's okay. 4 more days and we can leave. The manor was packed. Ethan didn't plan to return. He just wanted to spend the remaining days peacefully with his mother. But some people wouldn't let him have peace. The door was pounded on. Ethan opened it to find several bodyguards, his face draining of color. Ethan gritted his teeth warily. What do you want? I'm leaving as they wished. Isn't that enough? The lead guard spoke rudely. Mrs. Whitmore wants you at Mr. Sullivan's birthday party. You worked at the same firm. Mr. Sullivan hopes you'll come. Ethan laughed coldly. And if I refuse? The guard signaled. Several men rushed in, restraining his gray-haired mother. Mrs. Whitmore says if you won't come, your mother will. Seeing this, Ethan's eyes immediately reddened. Let go of my mother. I'll come. I'd invited him like a criminal being escorted to the party. At the entrance, Ethan saw River and me surrounded by admirers. River no longer looked plain and idealistic. He wore a custom suit with sapphire cufflinks. Under my guidance, he navigated smoothly among the elite. And I looked at him with unconcealed adoration and gentleness. The same look I used to give Ethan during our best years. Ethan hadn't prepared, wearing casual clothes that made him conspicuous. From the moment he entered, cruel whispers followed. River suddenly approached. Everyone, don't treat Ethan this way. Despite our conflicts, they're resolved now. Besides, Sophia and he have separated peacefully. She loves me very much. River's face glowed with sweet pride. Ethan instinctively looked at me. Seeing no reaction to River's words about our separation, his eyes stung. Ethan wanted to leave after a few polite words. But River suddenly lowered his voice so only we could hear. Ethan, what's the rush? I've prepared a surprise for you today. Seeing River's sinister smile, Ethan felt dread. Sure enough, the next second, obscene sounds filled the hall. On the largest screen played the video of Lily with that man. Ethan felt his blood freeze, limbs turning cold. Chapter 8. He reacted, rushing to stop the video. But guards blocked him completely. Ethan's head pounded as mockery and gossip surrounded him. That girl looks familiar. Isn't she similar to that Barrett lawyer? His sister? Wasn't she supposedly assaulted? Assault? Look how much she's enjoying it. With a sister like that, the brother's no good either. When the video nearly finished, River finally had it turned off. He cleared his throat at Ethan, gaze frank as if he'd done nothing wrong. Ethan, don't be angry. This case is already decided. Besides, your sister did this and my client said nothing. Why should you mind? Ethan lost all reason, lunging at River and slapping him hard. River fell into my arms. Seeing his swollen face, my eyes turned ice cold. I looked at Ethan like I wanted to kill him. Ethan. Are you insane? Ethan hadn't calmed down, hands still shaking. He laughed mockingly. When they played my sister's private video, where were you? Dead? But River gets slapped and suddenly you can see? Sophia, don't forget our agreement. Perhaps seeing Ethan so furious for the first time, I softened slightly, negotiating from my position of power. Everyone here today I can silence them. The agreement stands. But if you don't comply, next time it'll be your mother's video. Ethan swallowed the metallic taste again and again. He gave up struggling, speaking lightly. Sophia, I'll remember today. Forever. Watching Ethan's retreating figure, something inexplicably tightened in my chest. But hearing River's pained sobs in my arms, the last warmth in my eyes vanished. Ethan had barely left when he was hooded and dragged into an alley. Despite his protests about assault and being a lawyer, they didn't stop. They restrained him efficiently, setting up phones to record. Someone approached and slapped him hard. Ethan's head rang. Before he could react, more slaps came. They continued endlessly. Eventually Ethan could barely breathe, face swollen and painful, too weak to cry. Through his fading consciousness, he saw them. Send the video. And heard a voice message. Mrs. Whitmore, 99 slaps delivered. Good. Received. The cool female voice through the phone was the final, resounding slap. After they left, Ethan collapsed. Unable to distinguish if his body or heart hurt more. Chapter 9. Ethan told no one about this. He just wanted to leave with his mother. Looking at the flight reminder 3 hours away, Ethan and his mother quickly packed. About to leave, urgent knocking came. A middle-aged woman barged in rudely. Finally opening the door. What were you doing? Ethan frowned at the stranger. Who are you? I don't know you. Please leave. The woman saw Ethan's face and clicked her tongue, not answering but talking to herself. Son, his face won't work. But it's fine. The money from selling him will find you a wife. Everything else is negotiable. Ethan thought she might be insane. Then Lily's attacker swaggered in. Ethan lost control, rushing to attack. Get out. How dare you come here? The man wasn't worried, smiling smugly. Why can't I come? After selling you, the money will get me a wife. Your house is mine too. This is my home. Your sister slept with me and ran. You have to take responsibility. River and Ms. Whitmore said if you can't produce your sister, you come with me. Ethan's heart turned cold. Right then, River and I entered together. River maintained his arrogant attitude. Ethan, understand with trial approaching and your sister unreachable, what choice does my client have? Either produce your sister or go with him. Feeling the man's disgusting gaze, Ethan trembled. My sister is dead. She won't appear. Are you satisfied? River paused, then sneered. Now you're lying about your sister's death. Even knowing you'll lose to me, this is unnecessary. River looked at me after mocking him. Sophia, what should we do? I pondered briefly, then grabbed Ethan's wrist forcefully. I said this case is important to River. Must you make trouble? Ethan's eyes reddened. I said my sister is dead. What, want her corpse in court? My dark eyes filled with disappointment. I shoved him hard toward the man. Take him to cell. The man immediately whistled lewdly at Ethan. His mother cried, trying to intervene but was blocked. Ethan signaled her to leave with his eyes. Then hung his head, pretending to be broken, unresisting. Taken away, passing me, Ethan spoke very softly. Sophia, you're pushing me away with your own hands. Don't regret it. Without waiting for my response, he quickened his pace. Guards forced Ethan into the man's car. Once moving, Ethan watched carefully. Finding the right moment, he jumped from the car. Ignoring his injured limbs, Ethan limped into the woods. He knew this road to the airport was close. His mother texted. Ethan, I'm at the airport. If you can't escape, I won't leave either. Reading it, Ethan's eyes burned. 10 minutes later, he reached the airport safely. After passing security with his mother, Ethan's tense nerves finally relaxed. Looking at the departing plane, he squeezed his mother's hand. Mom, we can finally leave. Chapter 10. After Ethan was taken, I didn't leave immediately. Looking at the luggage they couldn't take, my heart beat faster with unease. Why is there luggage? Where were they going? River examined it, eyes flickering. He laughed lightly. Probably putting on a show for you. Sophia, don't worry. With your abilities, even if Ethan fled to the ends of the earth, you'd find him. Besides, River nestled into my arms, Mr. Barrett wouldn't abandon a tree like you. Hearing this last sentence, my furrowed brow finally relaxed. Right. Ethan loved me so much. Okay, let's go. After a few steps, I turned back to instruct my assistant. Tell that mother and son not to go too far. Ethan is still my husband. The assistant nodded. River's eyes flashed darkly. I had company matters and dropped River home before leaving. After I disappeared from view, River's smile immediately vanished. He quickly returned a call. Once connected, River's voice turned sharp. Didn't I say not to contact me carelessly? Sophia was right beside me. If she discovered us, we'd both be finished. The man's trembling voice came through. Mr. Sullivan, I had no choice. That Ethan Barrett escaped. He jumped from the car. River's pupils shook. He wanted to smash something but remembered the mansion servants and held back. Useless. River cursed. Can't even watch one lawyer. The man was nearly crying with fear. Mrs. Whitmore's people just contacted us, saying within 2 weeks, even if Ethan doesn't submit, Mrs. Whitmore will take him back. What if I can't produce him? This was all your plan. You encouraged us to make trouble, said we could sell Ethan for my wedding. Now Mrs. Whitmore won't let me touch him and he's gone. The man's noise gave River a headache. He forced himself to calm down. What's the use of panicking? I'll stall Sophia. But you must find Ethan quickly. He thinks Sophia arranged everything. He won't dare return. If found, eliminate him. If not, I'll have reasons. The man quickly agreed. After hanging up, River took several deep breaths to calm down. He needed to get me pregnant quickly. Within 2 weeks at least. With a child, everything would be fine. Meanwhile, at the company, I looked at the $100 million project contracts, head pounding. I threw the documents aside irritably. Am I paying you for nothing? Why are you asking me about legal disputes? What, is the entire legal department dead? Chapter 11. My assistant looked at me carefully. Mrs. Whitmore, Mr. Sullivan recently, fired everyone in legal. I couldn't believe what I heard. He fired everyone and no one told me. No one told me, fine. What about HR? They just agreed? The assistant didn't dare speak, silently complaining. Everyone let River do as he pleased because of my favoritism. Even Ethan, my husband of many years, was suppressed by River. Who dared say no to me? I massaged my throbbing temples. Call River. Just then, knocking came. River's fake considerate voice followed. Sophia, you must be tired from work. I came to help you rest. The assistant looked awkwardly at my increasingly dark expression. Not daring to breathe. Recently River and I had been passionate. Whenever River said such things, we'd inevitably be intimate. But now clearly wasn't the time for romance. I gripped my pen, voice hard and cold. Come in. River entered, saw my expression, and paused. Then he understood. I know you're angry about Ethan. But even wanting to protect his sister, he can't ignore the law. Sophia, I'll talk to him later. I'm sure he'll understand. River's magnanimous speech didn't soften my expression. I seemed angrier. Finally I couldn't hold back. Throwing documents at his face. River lost balance, his head hitting the desk corner. It immediately swelled. He looked at me with wounded eyes. But meeting my emotionless black gaze, he shivered. Sophia, what's wrong? River asked weakly. I laughed angrily. What's wrong? You dare ask what's wrong? Who gave you authority to fire the entire legal department? Now with legal disputes in our projects, who do I turn to? Hearing this, River relaxed. He slowly stood, raising his chin, returning to his usual proud demeanor. So you're angry about this? But Sophia, with so many men in legal, I just worried they'd tempt you. Besides, aren't I enough? Don't you trust my professional abilities? I slammed more documents on the floor. Abilities? I gritted my teeth. You really think you have abilities? Can't remember basic legal knowledge, never won a case. I've been propping you up. You really think you're capable? River's eyes reddened at the insult. About to throw a tantrum, he heard me say coldly. Chapter 12. If this isn't resolved well, the company loses at least $300 million. Can you swear you'll handle it? River finally realized the severity, his face going white. He wanted to speak. But I was done with him, grabbing my jacket and leaving quickly. I drove irritably to the city outskirts. My phone rang constantly about company matters. Annoyed beyond measure, I finally answered. For legal issues, ask Ethan Barrett. Can't you leave me alone? Only after speaking did I remember I'd personally sent Ethan away. My heart inexplicably twisted in pain. I clenched my fists. Fine, I'll handle it. Stop bothering me. I hung up quickly. After hesitating, I texted Ethan. Whitmore Corp has a small problem. Will you come back? I can forget the past if you just tell me your sister's location. I'll pick you up now. Ethan, don't be so stubborn. River's young and sometimes thoughtless. After sending, I checked every half hour. Seeing no response, I wanted to throw my phone. My unease grew stronger. In all our years together, this was the first time Ethan hadn't responded. Before. When we fought, Ethan would stay up writing me 1,000-word essays. But I made excuses for myself. Selling Ethan was too much. He had reason to be angry. Unable to wait for Ethan's response, I had my hackers trace his sister's last phone location. Results came quickly. Last location shows your private hospital. Hospital? My brow twitched. When did she go to the hospital? Why didn't anyone tell me? No one could answer. I drove to the hospital with a dark expression. On the way, River sent countless messages. The constant notifications made me want to block River for the first time. I used to find his straightforwardness refreshing despite his small-town background stubborn with strong morals. When I first expressed interest, River had refused directly. I found it amusing. More importantly, I saw young Ethan's shadow in him. Novelty is always intoxicating. But now, without comparison, River's stubborn courage seemed like stupidity. Watching my calls go unanswered for an hour, River gripped his phone angrily. He looked at the doctor with dark eyes. So you can't do what I asked? The doctor wanted to cry. Mr. Sullivan. Why bother? You're Mrs. Whitmore's favorite. Getting her pregnant is just a matter of time. No, it must be now. River lost control. Ethan Barrett escaped. When he realizes what I've done, I'm finished. The doctor threatened back. Mr. Sullivan, don't make this hard for us. We won't make it hard for you. If you insist, don't forget you falsely claimed Mrs. Whitmore's orders, making the entire hospital ignore Ethan's dying sister to treat your dog. A life was lost. You don't want Mrs. Whitmore knowing. Right? River knew he was at fault and could only glare coldly. He grabbed his things and stormed out. Opening the door, he saw me standing unsteadily outside, eyes red with anger. Chapter 13. Ethan carefully cleaned his sister's memorial tablet daily before going out. Opening his door, neighbors greeted him warmly. Feeling their warmth, Ethan rarely smiled. Since moving here with his mother, despite being in a foreign country, the beautiful scenery and kind people had healed much of their pain. But his sister remained a thorn in his heart. Thinking of her, Ethan still felt lost. A warm hand touched his head. Ethan looked up to meet his mother's gentle eyes. Today I'm taking you to meet a guest. Guest? Ethan was surprised. They'd specifically chosen somewhere they wouldn't be recognized. Who could be visiting? Facing Ethan's questions, his mother maintained her mystery. They went to the small library they'd opened with their savings. Entering, Ethan saw a figure rush at him excitedly. Before he could see clearly, he was hugged tightly. Oh my, isn't this Ethan? You've grown so much. Don't remember me? I held you as a baby. Ethan struggled to look up, seeing a middle-aged but still elegant face. The woman smiled at him. Ethan recognized something familiar in her features and tried tentatively. Aunt Catherine? Catherine answered happily, pinching Ethan's face. Our little Ethan has become so handsome. Ethan coughed self-consciously. Catherine was his mother's childhood friend. After both had families, they'd been neighbors for a while. Catherine had always been good to Ethan. She was weak, barely managing one child. After giving birth, she couldn't conceive again. Catherine's biggest regret was not having a son. As children, Ethan and Lily often visited the Morrison home. Catherine joked about stealing Ethan from his mother as her son. He remembered Catherine's daughter was also very good to him and Lily. Though always cold-faced, she was a responsible big sister. Whenever the three children got in trouble, she took the blame. Chapter 14. Catherine looked around. Ethan, where's your sister? I brought her favorite things. Ethan's eyes immediately dimmed. He controlled his emotions, glancing at his mother's reddening eyes. Finally he chose to give them time alone. Aunt Catherine. Ethan's voice was bitter. You and Mom should talk. Seeing Ethan like this, Catherine guessed what happened. She sighed gently, hugging Ethan again. Good boy. Don't worry, I'll be staying here a long time. I'll be with your mother. You don't need to worry. Go ahead. Ethan left the bookstore and hadn't gone far when he heard arguing. Locales, a man and woman fighting. The man forcibly held the woman. She struggled while cursing. Angered, the man slapped her hard. Ethan's eyes immediately turned cold. He stepped forward quickly, speaking sternly in the local language. Whatever the issue, can't you talk properly? Why hit a woman? The beaten woman saw Ethan defending her, hope lighting her defeated eyes. But before she could speak, the man yanked her back roughly. The man sneered at Ethan. What's it to you? She's my girlfriend. We argued. So what if I hit her? Who are you? Minding other people's business? The woman cried, explaining. No, that's not true. Sir, don't believe him. I'm not his girlfriend. Not? The man laughed sharply. Then why did you kiss me? I have intimate photos of you. If you won't be with me, I'll show the whole town your true nature. The woman's eyes widened in disbelief before she broke down crying. No, you forced those. I didn't consent. Do you really think I won't report you? The man became more arrogant. Report me then. Who knows if you consented? Maybe you enjoyed it and didn't resist. Their fierce argument turned to buzzing in Ethan's ears. His mind went blank, constantly seeing his sister being drugged and tricked. It wasn't consensual. When Ethan came to, he'd already slapped the man hard. He protected the woman behind him, chest heaving. Ethan forced himself to calm down, though his voice still shook with anger. As the person involved, you know very well if she consented. Using chastity to trap a woman for life, how is that different? From force? He turned to comfort the woman. Don't be afraid. I'll protect you. His sister's case was his regret, a thorn in his heart. Looking at the man's increasingly twisted expression, Ethan didn't back down. This time, he wouldn't let tragedy repeat. Chapter 15. The man cursed and charged with raised fists. But before reaching Ethan, a wind swept past. A subtle cold fragrance touched his nose. Strangely familiar. Ethan lowered his defensive arms. The previously arrogant man was kicked between the legs by a woman in a white dress. She wore a hat, the brim hiding most of her face. But her exposed pale chin and beautiful lips showed her refined beauty. Behind Ethan came an exclamation. Oh my. It was Aunt Catherine. She ran over, immediately scolding the hat-wearing woman. Didn't I tell you to be careful? Causing trouble already. What will Mrs. Barrett and Ethan think? They'll laugh at you. The woman, Autumn Morrison, removed her hat. Looking at the still shocked Ethan, a gentle smile softened her cold face. Her voice was clear and pleasant, like mountain spring water. Sorry, little brother. Did I scare you? Ethan finally understood his familiarity. This was the neighbor's daughter who'd often cared for him and Lily as children. River was confined in my study for a day and night. His voice was hoarse from calling out. Though his affair was discovered, River wasn't worried. He was confident in my love for him. Otherwise, how had he easily driven away Ethan after so many years? Tired of calling, River lay down to rest. Finally the study door opened. Seeing me enter, River immediately perked up. He raised his head, showing his swollen eyes, speaking weakly. I shouldn't have lied to you. But I just love you too much. Besides, about Ethan's sister, I really didn't know. Maybe he did it deliberately. Deliberately killed his sister so the Barrett family would have one less scandal. He didn't want the blame, so he framed me. I'm really innocent. I immediately laughed. River thought he had a chance, writhing toward me. Not noticing that though I smiled, the coldness in my eyes deepened. I cooperatively crouched down. Under River's expectant gaze, I untied his ropes. Then stood, grinding my foot into his hand. Intense pain struck. River hadn't processed what happened before hearing his bones crack. Without time for expression management, his cold, stubborn face twisted with pain. Still pretending? I gritted my teeth, eyes reddening as if I'd kill someone. You think I'm that easy to fool? I waved my hand. A bloody person was thrown in roughly. The face, tortured beyond recognition, suddenly approached River. River screamed in fright. Look carefully. Who is this? I pressed harder. River trembled with pain. Chapter 16. The man begged River weakly. Mr. Sullivan, everything about Ethan was your arrangement. I can't take it anymore. Tell the truth. Shut up. River shouted in panic. But seeing my cold, dark expression, he knew it was too late. After ensuring River's hand was completely ruined, I finally released my foot. No matter how pitifully River cried, my expression never changed. Servants brought a chair. I sat down calmly, my tone flat and cold. Like death pronouncing judgment. River, stop pretending. I know all your tricks. I know you deliberately approached me from the beginning. Your lack of vanity was all an act. Most laughably, I believed your false facade. I also know you lied about Ethan's sister. You lied saying your client was wrongly accused. You cried telling me you weren't as capable as Ethan, that losing this case would end your career. My voice grew heavier. Finally, I looked at River with cold hatred. So because of you, I drove away my own husband. Seeing undisguised killing intent in my eyes, River knew he wouldn't leave safely today. His voice trembled, all pretense of nobility. Gone. What do you want? I'm a lawyer. If something happens to me, the law won't let you go. Lawyer? I laughed immediately. River, without me supporting you, do you think you'd reach today's position? I lifted you up. I can drop you down. I'll make you experience every bit of Ethan and his sister's pain and suffering. Several eager men walked through the door. River immediately understood. His face went white. Ignoring everything, he crawled to grab my skirt with his ruined hand. Sophia, I was wrong. I really was wrong. I shouldn't have schemed against you, shouldn't have lied, but I truly love you. Ethan's sister can't come back. Ethan will never be with you again. He already knows you tricked him into signing divorce papers. There's no going back for you too. Just be with me properly. We'll have a child. River looked at me expectantly, still dreaming of becoming the Whitmore son-in-law. I slowly closed my eyes, anger and guilt churning in my heart. Especially hearing River say Ethan knew about the divorce papers. Complete despair filled me. After so many years of marriage, how could I not know Ethan's temperament? We truly had no way back. I looked down at River, voice hoarse. You calculated well. Poisonously. Ethan and I indeed have no chance. I've figured it out. Let you suffer more painful experiences. Maybe then Ethan might forgive me. Chapter 17. This sentence shattered River's last hope. I left the room without looking back. River's inhuman screams gradually followed. Later, screams turned to curses. Sophia Whitmore, you're the one who should die. What did I do wrong? You approached me first. You wanted someone new. Why blame everything on me? Ethan will never forgive you. Never. You should die. Even if I go to hell, I'll curse you to never have his heart. I gritted my teeth, finally turning back to roar. Are you all deaf? Make him. Shut up. I want his tongue removed. My assistant quickly complied, rushing over with guards. Within 5 minutes, the curses completely stopped. But the unease and pain in my heart didn't lessen at all. I stumbled to the mansion's small prayer room. My parents had it built when alive. I'd never believed in gods. But now, I had no choice but to pin my last hope on them. My red eyes were full of brokenness. My lips trembled as I prayed constantly. All gods and Buddhas, please, even if it costs my remaining life. Tell me where Ethan is. Give him back to me. I can't live without him. Then I began kowtowing repeatedly. Even when dizzy, forehead bleeding, I didn't stop. As if truly answered, on the 99th kowtow, subordinates urgently reported news of Ethan and his mother. Mrs. Whitmore, they've emigrated. Outside, rain poured. Lightning illuminated the dark room through curtain gaps. Ethan woke screaming, drenched in sweat. After confirming his safe surroundings, he slowly relaxed. His eyes adjusted to darkness. Ethan turned to see his sister's photo on the nightstand, nose suddenly sour. After calming himself, he went downstairs for beer from the fridge. But just as he opened it, a slender white hand pressed it closed. Startled, Ethan looked up with difficulty, seeing that pure, beautiful face. He bit his lip, somewhat unhappy. Autumn, why scare people in the middle of the night? Autumn raised an eyebrow, speaking to herself. So it's true. What's true? Ethan didn't understand. Autumn forced warm milk into Ethan's hands. Seeing his cold face with confused eyes, her usually cold face couldn't help but smile. Gently. Why do you think my mom suddenly said we'd stay here? Your mother contacted us. She told us everything. Ethan, I actually felt something was wrong when I first saw you again. You used to smile so much as a child, but I've been here a month and seen you smile less than 5 times. Also, can't sleep doesn't mean drink. Milk helps with sleep. If necessary, I'll stay until you quit drinking. Ethan almost didn't react. Chapter 18. This was the first time he'd seen Autumn so talkative. When he came to, Ethan's eyes reddened. Seeing this, Autumn immediately stopped chattering, her tone softening carefully. I'm sorry, Ethan. Did I say something hurtful? Ethan shook his head, just unable to control his tears. Seeing Autumn frantically looking for tissues, he couldn't help but laugh through tears. No, Autumn. I don't blame you. I just think I'm immature. The one who really needs care is my mom. She's suffering more than me. Half of Ethan's insomnia was because of this. Though his mother usually seemed fine, gentle, and kind to everyone, only. Ethan saw the deep sadness and despair in her eyes. But far from healing his mother, he was trapped in his own abyss of pain. Today was his sister's death anniversary. That's why Ethan wanted to get drunk. After hearing this, Autumn's expression turned serious. Your mother's condition might be depression. If not controlled, the consequences are severe. Ethan immediately panicked. Is there a way? Autumn nodded, showing her psychology counselor certificate. If you trust me, let me try. After Autumn's counseling, light returned to Ethan's eyes. He left with his milk. After he left, Catherine emerged, watching her daughter's eyes never leave his back. She couldn't help teasing. Didn't you say these certificates were useless? Searching all night at home 2 days ago, was this what you were waiting for? Autumn remained calm. At least I can help Mrs. Barrett now, can't I? Catherine rolled her eyes. Fine, I won't expose your little schemes. Autumn's psychological treatment indeed worked. Though forcing his mother to face bloody reality was cruel, after days of red, swollen eyes, she began expressing real emotions. At least she could openly mention her daughter's death in daily life. This sparked Ethan's great interest in psychology. Always talented at learning and liking challenges, Autumn naturally became his teacher. They often spent entire days in their library. Catherine watched her daughter want to chat but get blocked by Ethan's eager questions, laughing heartily. She elbowed Mrs. Barrett beside her. My daughter finally met her match. Mrs. Barrett looked at her friend's amused expression somewhat helplessly. She sighed slightly. If you really feel for your daughter, let her give up this hope. A mother knows her child. Ethan will probably never give his heart again. Catherine looked at Mrs. Barrett reproachfully. You. I don't need Ethan as my son-in-law. He's your son and also mine. I just want them happy. If Autumn can't let go and wants to stay with him forever, that's her choice. I won't interfere. Chapter 19. Warmth flowed through Mrs. Barrett's heart. She patted Catherine's hand. The longer Ethan studied psychology, the more confused he became. He could even help others with psychological problems, but couldn't solve his own. Ethan knew clearly his sister's case was his permanent trauma. But now he and his mother had emigrated. Returning to pursue old matters would surely alert me. He'd worked hard to leave with his mother. Ethan considered going alone. But thinking if something happened to him, leaving his mother alone in the world. He couldn't bear it. The more he thought, the heavier Ethan's mood became. Glass after glass went down, another bottle emptied. Pouring another glass, Autumn suddenly appeared and took it easily. Seeing her, Ethan's first reaction was guilt, then false bravado. Can't I have a few drinks occasionally? You can. Autumn sat beside Ethan, downing the glass. I'm not here to control you today. Just thought drinking alone is boring. I'll keep you company. Ethan looked at her surprised. Why not today? Autumn's lashes lowered, hiding her emotions. After all this time together, I understand you. If not for unsolvable problems, you wouldn't use this to drown sorrows. Ethan, how long will you keep bottling things up? Ethan rested his head on his knees, nose suddenly sour. I just sometimes dream of my sister. Dream of her suicide, dream of her asking why I didn't bring the guilty to justice. But I don't dare. This is the peaceful life, Mom. And I finally achieved. I'll go with you. Autumn grabbed Ethan's hand, gaze increasingly determined. Since you have this thought, do it. I believe Mrs. Barrett will support you too. Besides, there's me. Mountain of knives or sea of fire, I'll accompany you. I searched for Ethan like a madwoman for 3 years. During those 3 years, I didn't want to manage the company. Didn't want to go home. Basically visited every country. Every night relying on sleeping pills, fantasizing about finding Ethan. Tomorrow. After searching all day, falling into despair again. This cycle repeated. My mental state developed serious problems. Startled awake by night wind, I found myself standing on the balcony edge, dozens of floors high. I'd almost jumped in a trance. Life without Ethan was painful. But I didn't plan to die like this. Living meant hope of seeing Ethan again. I used my last connections to find a renowned psychological healer. After some effort finding them and queuing all day, watching the sunset, I laughed at myself. Wasting time on my own matters seemed stupid. When it should have been my turn, I chose to leave. After a few steps, I heard a familiar male voice. Chapter 20. Hey, where's the patient who was just here? Never mind, next please come in. All surrounding noise seemed to quiet instantly. Only that male voice echoed with thunder in my ears. My breathing quickened, palms sweating. I slowly turned around. Though only a profile, I recognized him immediately as the one I'd yearned for. Ethan. My lips trembled, eyes bursting with joy as I rushed forward. But security stopped me. Miss, if you need treatment, please queue. My eyes reddened with urgency. Struggling while gritting my teeth. Get away. I'm here for someone. Security looked at me strangely, expression growing serious. Even looking for someone requires following rules. Otherwise we'll have to remove you. Just then, a beautiful, refined woman emerged, standing beside Ethan. Ethan hadn't noticed me yet. They exchanged words, then the woman began scolding Ethan. He hung his head before her, looking somewhat wronged and pitiful. But she frowned, getting fiercer. I couldn't care about anything else, pushing past security roughly. I rushed to slap the woman hard. But Autumn reacted faster. Sensing my approach, Autumn had prepared in advance. She pinned me to the ground. Seeing Ethan's poor complexion, she understood roughly what was happening. Ethan saw clearly it was me, his face turning pale, hands trembling uncontrollably. He hadn't expected to see me again in this lifetime. His heart held no joy or excitement. Only instantly filled with hatred. Ethan's eyes immediately turned cold. I struggled to raise my head, meeting Ethan's emotionless gaze. But I'd anticipated this. I forced a pale smile. Ethan, I finally found you. Don't be afraid. I saw clearly this woman was bullying you. I'll get justice for you. I tried to stand but Autumn's grip was too strong. I remained pinned embarrassingly. Unable to break free, my face flushed with humiliation. Autumn sneered. Bullying Ethan? He's my most important person. I treat him like family. We were just bickering. I'm not like some people who don't cherish him, taking advantage of Ethan's good nature to constantly hurt him. My ears burned with humiliation. But I focused on Autumn's most important person. I glared at Autumn hatefully. What's your relationship with him? Ethan suddenly approached expressionlessly. He shook his head slightly at Autumn, then took her hand. Only then did Autumn release me. I stumbled up from the ground, staring at their joined hands, finding it unbearably glaring. Chapter 21. His eyes were red-rimmed, his pale face showing more confusion and hurt. I looked at Ethan carefully. Ethan, you. I'm sorry, miss. I don't know you. Though my name is Ethan Barrett, I might not be who you're looking for. He glanced at Autumn beside him. Autumn, let's go. Don't waste time on this person. Watching Ethan's cold demeanor, I felt sharp pain in my heart. I scrambled after them, still disbelieving. How can you not be Ethan? You are. I know you're angry, you resent me, but don't pretend not to know me. I know everything about River. I was stupid, played by him. But Ethan, we've been married so many years, through everything. Have you forgotten? Ethan suppressed a bitter laugh. He stopped, asking softly. Married? Miss, can you prove we were married? One sentence drained all color from my face. The divorce, I'd orchestrated it myself. Moreover, Ethan had emigrated afterward. I couldn't even prove we'd had a past. I fell completely silent but still followed Ethan unwillingly. As if praying he'd look back at me. But Ethan chatted happily with Autumn, never turning around. I followed them all the way to his home. His mother, chatting with Catherine, saw me and immediately lost composure. Her eyes turned cold. Ignoring Catherine's attempts to stop her, she rushed over and slapped me repeatedly. I covered my swollen face, not angry but laughing foolishly. I looked at his mother expectantly, voice trembling. Mrs. Barrett, you remember me. You and Ethan haven't lost your memories. You both remember me, right? Mrs. Barrett shook her aching hand, expressionless. Wishful thinking. I just simply don't like you. Catherine held back laughter, pulling Mrs. Barrett away while glaring at Autumn. Quickly get rid of this vagrant. Looking so dirty, claiming to know our Ethan. Look at yourself. I looked down at my dirty, wrinkled suit. Immediately flustered. No, that's not it. I'm not usually like this. I always take care of myself. But recently, I've been desperate to find Ethan. I haven't even rested properly. Ethan didn't want to hear my voice anymore. But he knew with my persistence, I wouldn't leave anytime soon. But he wasn't worried. Ethan looked up at the cloudy sky. If this person insists on staying here, let her. I indeed stood outside Ethan's building all day. Until late at night when heavy rain suddenly poured. Chapter 22. The rain was torrential, as if trying to drown the world. There was no shelter nearby except Ethan and his mother's home. But I knew clearly I hadn't been forgiven. What right did I have to enter? I shivered in the rain from cold. My dress soaked through, looking pathetic. Then strong winds picked up. My body swayed more and more precariously. My vision seemed to blur. But I stubbornly looked up at the warmly lit second floor. Ethan sat by the window with Autumn. They chatted about something. Looking very happy. Bitterness and grievance filled my heart. So Autumn's words were all true. But the place beside Ethan was clearly mine. We used to sit like this on rainy days, drinking and watching rain. Back then, Ethan's eyes looking at me held unconcealed love. Such a beautiful relationship. Thrown away by my own hands. Overwhelmed, I couldn't hold on anymore and fainted in the rain. Upstairs, Ethan saw everything clearly. Seeing me fall, his lashes trembled slightly. Autumn asked softly, should I take her to the hospital? Ethan looked at her. Strangely. In such heavy rain, what if you catch cold? I just think it's troublesome. If she dies at my doorstep, it'll affect Mom and me. Hope she lasts until tomorrow. Someone will naturally take her to the hospital then. Just don't die at my doorstep. Ethan stood and walked inside. Autumn couldn't help but smile. I had a very long dream. I dreamed that after fainting, Ethan rushed to my side anxiously. He even cried. I wanted to wipe his tears but couldn't move. The dream was too beautiful. I didn't want to wake. Because waking meant lying alone in a hospital bed. Still feeling unavoidably lost. A nurse came to check on me. I asked hoarsely, urgently. Excuse me, who brought me to the hospital? Was it a man? The nurse looked at me strangely. What man? Morning patrol security found you. Seeing my disappointed, defeated expression, the nurse couldn't help saying. Stop thinking about it. You're lucky to be alive. You lay in that heavy rain all night. No one cared if you lived or died. Whoever you're looking for clearly doesn't want to care about you. These words grated particularly harshly. Emotionally overwhelmed, I screamed at the nurse with red eyes. Get out. Then I started pulling out IVs, throwing things. As if trying to vent all the unwillingness and resentment in my heart. The nurse was startled by my behavior, cursing as she left. Are you insane? After the nurse left, I collapsed powerlessly on the cold floor. Looking at my still bleeding wounds. Chapter 23. My fever hadn't completely broken. My whole body was uncomfortable. I had no strength to get up, so I just lay there, hazily thinking of Ethan. Shortly after we got together, I fell seriously ill. Ethan ran around taking care of me. The illness was severe. So severe I thought I wouldn't make it. We were at our most loving then, no third parties. Ethan stayed by my side day and night without rest. Every time I opened my eyes, I saw his red-rimmed eyes. During a rare, lucid moment, I had a lawyer draft a will immediately. With Ethan's name on it. When Ethan found out, he immediately tore up the will. Then ignored me for 2 or 3 days. Finally, seeing how sick I was, he never mentioned it again. But Ethan had been fierce with me then. He gritted his teeth. Sophia Whitmore, if you insult me with this again, I'll leave immediately. You'll never find me. Seeing Ethan's serious, stubborn expression then, I had only one thought. I knew I'd fallen. For Ethan Barrett this lifetime. But after many years together, I inexplicably grew bored. Right then, I met River. I saw young Ethan's shadow in River. I kept telling myself. Just deviate once. After so many years together, Ethan would surely understand. Besides, in our wealthy circles, keeping lovers outside was common. No matter how much I liked River, it couldn't threaten Ethan's position. Even that divorce agreement if I wanted, I could revoke it any time. I thought everything was under my control. But I hadn't expected Ethan to be more decisive than I imagined. Those who hurt and betrayed him absolutely wouldn't keep. Near dawn, my fever finally broke hazily. I opened my eyes hopefully, finding myself still lying alone on the hospital floor. No sign of the face I yearned for. Ethan truly didn't care if I lived or died. I put my hand on my face but couldn't help sobbing. In this moment, I suddenly wanted to return to the past. If everything could start over, I wouldn't choose this way. Ethan noticed I hadn't appeared for days. He thought I might have died somewhere. He had no time for me, busy with his old profession. The woman he'd saved from the alley had become his best friend here. Ethan helped her overcome psychological trauma. But the past remained a thorn in her heart. Her experience was similar to his sister's. This made Ethan determined to help her. If he could bring her attacker to justice, he'd have more confidence facing his sister's case. Fortunately, gathering evidence wasn't too difficult now. Plus with Autumn's help, everything went smoothly. Chapter 24. Leaving the woman's home that day, Ethan immediately encountered the grim-faced man. The man blocked Ethan's path, grinding his teeth. Then he threw money insultingly at Ethan's face. Name your price. Sir, we have no grudge. Why oppose me? That woman and I know each other. We're a couple. I was pursuing her. Everyone in town knows. Ethan tore up the money expressionlessly, finding the man's panic somewhat amusing. Scared now? What about when you did wrong? If you're truly innocent, why worry about my involvement? I'm a lawyer, not police. I can't convict you directly. The man's defenses broken, his expression turned vicious. He suddenly pulled out a sharp fruit knife at Ethan. Fine. You asked for this. Opposing needn't blame me for being rude. Seeing the man's bloodshot eyes, Ethan felt afraid. He'd already called his emergency contact but no response yet. Ethan tried to stall. But the man charged with the knife. Ethan kept resisting. He'd learned some self-defense from Autumn. But it was just basic moves. Ethan was quickly overpowered. Looking at the knife inches away, Ethan trembled with fear. The man laughed sadistically. He gestured at Ethan's face. Your face is quite nice. Here's the deal, strip for me now, let me try a man's taste, and I'll let you go. Otherwise, your pretty face won't survive. Ethan felt sick to his stomach. One sentence only. In your dreams. The man laughed coldly. Then don't blame me. Ethan watched the man raise his hand high, closing his eyes in despair. But the expected pain didn't come. Instead, warm liquid dripped on his face. Ethan opened his eyes in disbelief. He saw me, whom he hadn't seen in days, pale-faced, gripping the man's knife. Bare-handed. As if feeling no pain. My eyes, cold as ice, stared deadly at the man. The man's scalp prickled under my gaze. He cursed. Where'd this vagrant come from? Get lost. Don't meddle. Though I'd lost weight, I'd been trained as an heir since childhood in martial arts. The man was no match. I easily kicked him off Ethan. I clenched my bleeding hand into a fist. Face dark, I walked quickly over, stepping on the rising man. He cried out in pain, looking at me with wariness and fear. You want money? I'll give you money. Let me go. I laughed coldly. Money? Then I'll give you money too. To buy your life. What do you say? Touching Ethan Barrett, are you tired of living? The man finally realized I wasn't ordinary. Understanding who he'd provoked, he immediately begged tearfully. But I wasn't satisfied. All my recent frustration and grievance vented on him. Ethan struggled to stand. Watching the man beaten nearly speechless, he felt only satisfaction. But remembering I'd saved him made his feelings complicated. Honestly, he didn't want to owe me this favor. A warm hand suddenly gripped his. Autumn embraced Ethan excitedly, voice trembling. Ethan, are you okay? It's my fault. I didn't check my phone. I didn't know you were in danger. Autumn nervously examined Ethan thoroughly. Confirming no injuries, she finally relaxed. I turned back, seeing their clasped hands, my eyes immediately darkening. Rage surging, I rushed over and grabbed Autumn's collar. If you can't protect him, why occupy the place beside him? Autumn, knowing she was at fault, lowered her lashes but said nothing to refute. Ethan couldn't stand it. He pushed me away forcefully. Under my disbelieving gaze, he chose to shield Autumn. Do I have to need protection? What am I to you? An object to be passed around? I reddened my eyes with hurt, speaking helplessly. Ethan, that's not what I meant. I just think she's too hypocritical. I appeared in time this once. What about the future? She can't protect you properly. Ethan laughed coldly. He pointed at the half-dead man. What, you? Saved me and now you're eager for credit? Give up, Sophia. I won't be grateful or forgive you. Yes, Autumn didn't appear in time. But don't forget who drove me here in the first place. These words completely silenced me. My lips moved but I didn't know what to say. My eyes full of brokenness, plus the blood on me. This shattered appearance would make anyone soften. But for Ethan, it was useless now. Ethan gathered courage to continue. Let me make this clear. Everything I'm preparing now is to eventually sue you. Sophia, the only place I'll speak to you calmly is in court. Chapter 25. Watching Ethan and Autumn's retreating figures, I couldn't withstand this blow. My body swayed and I collapsed on the ground. Even high pride me now sat disheveled in the dirt, unable to care about the strange looks from passers-by. Self-respect had always been my strongest trait, yet I just hung my head helplessly, clenching my fists weakly. That night, I couldn't stop replaying Ethan's words. The only place he'd speak to me calmly was in court. As his opponent. As the defendant in his sister's wrongful death case. I laughed bitterly in my empty hotel room. How far we'd fallen from the couple who once shared everything. Meanwhile, Ethan calculated the timeline. After submitting evidence, the case would be resolved within a week. Once finished, he planned to return abroad. But first, he needed to prepare one person psychologically, his mother. Mrs. Barrett watched Ethan trail behind her stammering for an hour. Amused and exasperated, she tapped his head with chopsticks affectionately. You're just like your sister. Whenever she had something on her mind, it was written all over her face. You two really are siblings. Hearing his mother mention his sister so naturally now, Ethan's eyes grew warm. He thought for a moment, testing the waters. Mom, I've been dreaming of Lily lately. Mrs. Barrett's smile dimmed slightly, but her gaze remained gentle. What did you dream? I dreamed Lily praised me. She said I'm taking good care of you, that we're happy, so she's at peace. She also said not to miss her too much, she keeps sneezing down there. By the end, Ethan's voice choked up. Even Mrs. Barrett's eyes glistened with tears. She patted Ethan's hand, then sighed. Go ahead. Go back and do it. Ethan looked at his mother in disbelief. Mom? You think I don't know what you want to do? When you started helping that girl with her case, I guessed your intentions. I didn't say anything because I didn't want you going back. But I also feel unwilling to let it go. Your sister was such a good girl, killed so young, and even in death has no clear name. But Ethan, I'm begging you protect yourself. Though I don't know what's gotten into Sophia, she betrayed you once, she can do it again. Chapter 26. After Ethan's repeated assurances, Mrs. Barrett finally relaxed. He prepared everything and returned to the States with Autumn. But he couldn't find Lily's attacker or his mother anywhere. They'd vanished without a trace. After 5 days of investigation, someone finally gave him a lead. He'd been picked up by a black car with a memorable license plate of all nines. Only I would have such a plate. Standing outside the Whitmore estate, Ethan's hands trembled with rage. So I'd hidden them. All my tears and apologies abroad meant nothing. The butler greeted him warmly. But Ethan's voice was ice. Where is she? I appeared in the hallway, looking haggard in a simple dress. Ethan? You came back? Cut the act, Sophia. Where are they? I studied his face for a long moment, then smiled sadly. You want to see them? You want your justice? Fine. But I have one condition. Of course you do. His laugh was bitter. Still playing games. One boat ride. On the lake where we first said, I love you. 10 minutes. Then I'll tell you. Everything. Ethan wanted to refuse, but he needed those witnesses. Fine. But that's all you get, 10 minutes. Chapter 27. The lake was quiet in the early morning mist. I'd already prepared the small boat, the same type we'd used years ago when I pretended it was broken just to trap him into confessing his feelings. Ethan climbed in stiffly, sitting as far from me as possible. Your 10 minutes start now. I picked up the oars, my hands shaking slightly. Do you remember that night? You were so angry when you realized I'd lied about the boat being broken. I remember everything, he said coldly. Including how you threw it all away. I know. I rowed us toward the center of the lake. Ethan, what I'm about to show you, just remember that I loved you. In my own broken, selfish way, I loved you. Stop talking in riddles. I pulled out my phone and made a call. Bring them to the warehouse. Yes, both of them. Then I turned to Ethan. The warehouse on Pier 47, they're there. The man who hurt Lily and River Theory both there. Along with all the evidence you need. Video confessions, documentation of River's lies, proof of how he manipulated everything. Just like that? No more games? No more games. I set down the oars and pulled out a thick envelope. This is everything. River came to me 3 years ago, before that first case. He knew who I was, knew how to play me. He orchestrated everything, getting close to me, taking the case, defending Lily's attacker, driving us apart. It was all planned. Ethan's hands shook as he read through the documents. You've known this for how long? 6 months. I've had them both in that warehouse for 6 months. I met his eyes steadily. I wanted them to suffer like Lily suffered. Like you suffered. Like your mother suffered. You tortured them. I destroyed them. The same way they destroyed us. I looked out at the water. I know it doesn't fix anything. I know it doesn't bring Lily back or undo my betrayal. But they'll never hurt anyone. Again. Sophia. His voice was strained. What you did is illegal. You'll go to prison. I know. I smiled sadly. That's why I needed these 10 minutes. To see you one last time. To give you what you needed for justice. The police will be at the warehouse in, I checked my watch, about 20 minutes. I called them before I came here. You're turning yourself in. I'm finishing what I started. River and his accomplice will face justice. Your sister's name will be cleared. And I'll pay. For my crimes, all of them. Ethan was silent for a long moment. Then, quietly, why now? Why not just hand them over to the police from the beginning? Because I needed to be sure they'd pay. The legal system failed Lily once. I couldn't let it fail her again. And I took a shaky breath. Because I needed to do one right thing. Just one, before the end. The end? I pulled out a small bottle from my pocket. It was empty. I took them about 15 minutes ago. By the time the police process everything at the warehouse, by the time they come looking for me, it'll be too late. No. Ethan lunged forward, grabbing my shoulders. Sophia, what did you do? What I should have done the moment I realized I destroyed everything good in my life. I touched his face gently, memorizing it. Be happy with Autumn. She's good for you. Better than I ever was. I'm calling 911. With what? We're in the middle of the lake. By the time we get to shore, by the time an ambulance arrives. I shook my head. I planned this carefully, Ethan. The same way I planned everything else. Except this time, it's to give you peace instead of taking it away. He was crying now, this man who'd been stone-faced through everything. This isn't what I wanted. I never wanted you dead. I know. You're too good for that kind of hatred. You wanted justice through the courts, fair trials, proper procedures. Because you believe in the system, in doing things right. I wiped his tears with trembling fingers. That's why I loved you. And why I was always wrong for you. My vision was starting to blur. The pills were working faster than I'd expected. Row us back, Ethan. You have evidence to deliver and a life to live. I can't. Yes, you can. You're the strongest person I know. You survived my betrayal, your sister's death, starting over in a new country. You'll survive this too. He took the oars with shaking hands. Rowing desperately toward shore. I lay back in the boat, watching the sky lighten above us. I'm sorry, Ethan. For everything. Save your strength. We're almost there. Tell your mother, tell her she was right to hate me. Tell her I'm sorry about Lily. Tell her. My words were getting harder to form. Tell her thank you for raising such a good son. The boat hit the dock. Ethan scrambled out, pulling out his phone to call for help, but I grabbed his hand weakly. The warehouse. Go to the warehouse first. Make sure they can't escape. For Lily. Sophia, please. I love you, Ethan Barrett. I loved you wrong, I loved you selfishly, but I loved you with everything broken inside me. My grip loosened. Now go. Go get justice for your sister. Chapter 28. I don't remember him leaving. I don't remember much after that except the sound of sirens in the distance and the gentle rocking of the boat against the dock. By the time the paramedics arrived. Alerted by Ethan's call after he'd secured the warehouse, it was too late. Just as I'd planned. They told me later that they found River and Lily's attacker exactly where I'd said they'd be, along with boxes of evidence, videos, documents, financial records, everything needed to prove Lily's innocence and River's orchestration of the entire scheme. River broke down completely during interrogation, confessing to everything. How he'd researched me before applying to be Whitmore Corp's legal counsel. How he'd played the idealistic, naive lawyer to appeal to my savior complex. How he'd identified Lily as Ethan's weakness and paid her attacker to drug her at that networking event. The man who'd assaulted Lily got life in prison. River got 25 years for conspiracy, obstruction of justice, and a host of other charges. The media had a field day with the story of the heiress who tortured two men for 6 months before turning them over to police and taking her own life. But the real story, the one that mattered, was simpler. Lily Barrett's name was cleared. The world knew she'd been drugged, assaulted, and failed by a corrupt legal system. Scholarships were established. In her name. Laws were changed. She became a symbol of why the system needed reform. Epilogue, Ethan's POV. I stand at Sophia's grave on a gray February morning, 3 years after her death. Autumn waits in the car. She understands I need to do this alone. The headstone is simple, Sophia Whitmore, 1995 to 2023. She loved him perfectly but completely. I'd fought her parents on that inscription. They'd wanted something about her business achievements or family legacy. But I'd insisted on the truth of who she was, someone capable of great love and great destruction, often at the same time. Lily's scholarship fund gave out its 100th award yesterday, I tell the cold stone. A girl from Detroit wants to be a prosecutor. She wrote about how Lily's story inspired her to fight for victims who can't fight for themselves. The wind rustles through the cemetery trees. I pull my coat tighter. Mom's doing better. She still has bad days, but the therapy helps. She's even dating somebody, a nice widower from her book club. She'd kill me for telling you that. I place a single white rose on the grave. Not out of love that died the day she chose River over my sister's justice. But out of acknowledgement. She was part of my story, a chapter written in both light and shadow. Autumn's pregnant, I say quietly. A girl. We're thinking of naming her Lily, if that's okay with you. I know you'd probably make some joke about me replacing one complicated woman with another. The therapy helped me understand that Sophia wasn't evil, she was broken in ways that made her break others. Her final acts were both the cruelest and kindest things she'd ever done, cruel in the torture and violence, kind in ensuring justice and removing herself from the equation. I don't forgive you, I tell her grave honestly. I don't think I ever will. But I understand you a little better now. You loved me the only way you knew how, possessively, destructively, completely. And when you finally saw what that love had cost, you tried to fix it the same way, possessively, destructively, completely. I turned to leave, then pause. River died in prison last month. Suicide. I thought you should know. The other one is still serving life, in solitary for his own protection. Justice doesn't always look like what we expect. Does it? As I walk back to the car where Autumn waits with her gentle smile and growing belly, I think about the strange paths life takes. How love can be both salvation and damnation. How justice can come from the most unjust places. How sometimes the only way to save someone is to let them go or let them let you go. Sophia gave me everything once. Then she took everything away. In the end, she gave me the only thing that mattered, freedom. Freedom from her, from the past, from the cycle of love. And betrayal that would have destroyed us both. The car is warm. Autumn takes my hand without asking questions. As we drive away, I don't look back. The past is buried now, as it should be. All that matters is the road ahead, and the family we're building on foundations of trust, respect, and a love that strengthens rather than consumes. It's not the life I once imagined. It's better. Because it's real. And somewhere in whatever comes after, I hope both Lily and Sophia have found their own peace. They've certainly given me mine.